Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on
Hello to all the viewers and welcome to Afternoon Headlines. I'm Aaron Lingdo. We start with the big national focus. The Enforcement Directorate's grilling of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is underway amid the Satyagraha launched by the party in protest against the ED summon in an alleged money laundering case. Well, Rahul Gandhi, who marched to the ED office, was accompanied by hundreds of Congress leaders, including his sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Randeep Surjewala, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, among others. Well, Rahul Gandhi had begun his march from the Congress headquarters. But later, senior leaders like Randeep Surjewala and Harish Rawat were detained by the police. Now, as per inputs, a 3-member ED team will quiz Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald case. And earlier in the morning, scores of Congress workers were detained by the Delhi police as they staged a protest holding placards amidst massive sloganeering in support of Rahul Gandhi. All right, well, the Enforcement Directorate's grilling of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is underway amid the Satyagraha launched by the party in protest against the ED summon in an alleged money laundering case. Well, Rahul Gandhi, who marched to the ED office, was accompanied by hundreds of Congress leaders, including his sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Randeep Surjewala, the Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, among others. Well, Rahul Gandhi had begun his march from the Congress headquarters. Later, senior leaders like Randeep Surjewala and Harish Rawat were detained by the police. Now, as per inputs, the 3-member ED team will quiz Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald case. And earlier in the morning, scores of Congress workers were detained by the Delhi police as they staged a protest holding placards amidst massive sloganeering in support of Rahul Gandhi. Now, meanwhile, as part of the nationwide Satyagraha, Congress leaders and workers also staged a protest in Guwahati. Well, these are visuals from outside the Raj Bhavan in Guwahati, where scores of party workers and leaders gathered to protest against the ED summon to Rahul Gandhi. Well, the Congress leaders alleged that party workers were stopped from marching towards the ED office.
देखिए, जो केस में ईडी ने आज राहुल गांधी जी को बुलाया है, इस केस में यही बीजेपी सरकार ने 2015 में राहुल गांधी को क्लीन चिट दिया था और जो मामला उन लोग ने दिखाया है, जो नेशनल हेराल्ड पेपर, ये न्यूज़पेपर जब बंद होने का समय आ गया, तब ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी ने 90 करोड़ रुपया हम लोग एक इंस्टॉलमेंट का हिसाब से 100 इंस्टॉलमेंट में हम लोग ने नेशनल हेराल्ड को पुनर्जीवित करने के लिए दिया था और इसका 65 करोड़, ये सबको मालूम है, देश में सबको मालूम है, जो 65 करोड़ रुपया VRS में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल देने में और बिल्डिंग का भाड़ा देने में खर्चा किया। तो आज इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, पार्टी का पैसा पार्टी ने कहाँ खर्चा किया वो इलेक्शन कमीशन को मालूम है और बीजेपी ने 15 में क्लीन चिट दिया। अब जब नुपुर शर्मा का केस आ गया, जब नुपुर शर्मा का केस के लिए बीजेपी का और मोदी जी का वो भी पूरा देश भर में, पूरा विश्व में जब इसका भावमूर्ति म्लान हुआ है, तब इन्होंने ये इशू डाइवर्ट करने के लिए हमारा नेता राहुल गांधी और सोनिया गांधी को टारगेट किया है। आज हमारे ये जो शांति समारोह है, इसका मकसद एक है कि हम लोग किसी भी कीमत पर झुकने वाला नहीं है, दौड़ने वाला नहीं है। हम लोग राहुल गांधी का साथ है, राहुल गांधी का साथ रहेगा और पूरा हमारा कांग्रेस का परिवार राहुल गांधी का साथ ही रहेगा। आज भारतवर्ष में अहिंसा आंदोलन करने के लिए भी मौका नहीं है। आज हम लोग क्या क्या है, हम लोग तो कोई लाठी बंदूक लेके नहीं है, हम लोग एक बैनर लेके ईडी ऑफिस जाने के लिए आए हैं। तो ईडी ऑफिस तक जाने के लिए बीजेपी का क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
This is the autocracy of the BJP government. They want to divert the issue of Nupur Sharma by calling Rahul Gandhi. ED has issued summon and we are protesting here. You see, they have stopped us. We have a peaceful procession, and they are opposing this democratic peaceful right of political party. So they want to finish the democracy, and it is totally autocracy in India under leadership of Narendra Modi. And we protest, we oppose this type of autocracy. We will fight against this autocracy, and we will bring democracy in this country.
Now, meanwhile, in Itanagar, the Arunachal Pradesh Congress Committee, along with the National Youth Congress, staged a protest rally starting from the APCC office till the tennis court. Now, meanwhile, the protesters are staging a sit-in satyagraha.
In a democracy country, everybody has a right to do their express their views, their sentiments, and do these protests, dharnas, and rallies. That is given by the Constitution of India. Why that should be denied or deprived? That is not good, because what the Delhi government is doing, they have not allowed the Congress party to go to the protest rally and dharna. That is not good.
And meanwhile, Congress leaders and workers in Tripura also staged a protest against Rahul Gandhi's ED summon. Tripura Pradesh Congress President Birajit Sinha and senior party leader Sudeep Roy Barman led the protest.
जवाहरलाल नेहरू, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने देश स्वाधीनता पहले एक नेशनल हेराल्ड बनाया। उसमें सिर्फ डॉक्टर पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू नहीं है, सरदार पटेल भी था, सभी था। वो देश के लिए बहुत काम किया। वो तो 1915 में उसको बैन किया था ब्रिटिश सरकार ने। तो उसमें कोई करप्शन नहीं है, कुछ नहीं। इंटेंशनली सोनिया जी, राहुल जी को ईडी ने नोटिस किया है, उसको कोई मीनिंग नहीं है। पावर को मिसयूज कर रहा है, देशवासी उसको नहीं मानेगा। देशवासी अभी प्रोटेस्ट करके।
And let's take a look now at the big story from Manipur. An unidentified militant group in Churachandpur district has kidnapped 2 natives from the district and has demanded a ransom of rupees 2 crore for releasing the hostages. The 2 victims have been identified as Kam Muan Pao, who is the founder of Zomi Finn's music band and the chief of MT Jaltam village. Well, the other victim has been identified as Go Khanthang from Khajang in Churachandpur. Well, the duo was kidnapped on Saturday night by the unidentified insurgent group. Meanwhile, the officer in charge of Singat police station, Telen Kom, informed that the police are trying to locate the whereabouts of the hostages and ensure their safe release. Now, moreover, the Zomi Chief Associations, or the ZCA, has strongly condemned the incident in the strongest term and noted about its inability to accept the threat to family members. And in Mizoram, the African swine fever menace is lingering in the hill state, leading to fresh pig deaths. While close to 40 pig deaths were reported yesterday, while another dozen pigs were culled by the officials to prevent further spread of the disease. Now, close to 5,000 pigs have died since March in Mizoram due to the African swine fever. Currently, 68 villages spread across 9 districts of the state are affected by the African swine fever. Now, what is also concerning is the fact that 641 pigs have died due to suspected ASF infections in 36 villages yet to be declared as ASF-infested areas. Now, the ASF outbreak, which began on March the 21st, 2021, was declared as contained by early this year before killing at least 33,417, estimated to cost rupees 60.82 crores. Well, hundreds of passengers, including patients and children, have been left stranded near Harangajao in Dima Hasao following fresh landslides at several stretches of half-long Silchar Road. Well, the fresh landslides have been reported from Dolai Chunga, Rekho, Dim Bruchera, among others. Now, despite best efforts by the NHAI, things continue to remain uncertain along the route. While the district administration has been urging the NHAI to ensure immediate restoration of the surface communication along the route. All right, well, hundreds of passengers, including patients and children, have been left stranded near Harangajao in Dima Hasao following fresh landslides at several stretches of half-long Silchar Road. Now, the fresh landslides have been reported from Dolai Chunga, Rekho, Dim Bruchera, among others. Now, despite best efforts by the NHAI, things continue to remain uncertain along the route. Now, the district administration has been urging the NHAI to ensure immediate restoration of surface communication along the road. And moving on now, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has termed the victory in Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council polls as an unprecedented mandate, which has given the BJP a bigger responsibility to live up to people's expectations. Chief Minister Sharma also stated that after wins in urban body and the GMC polls, the huge victory in the KAAC was a true affirmation of the people's trust on the BJP's inclusive and developmental policies. Significantly, Chief Minister Sharma also took a dig at the Congress on the occasion, stating that Assam was on its way to becoming Congress Mukt. He also pointed out that after drawing a blank in the Rajya Sabha and the Guwahati municipal polls, the party has now failed to open its account in the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council as well. While the top BJP leader and the Assam Chief Minister also noted that the Congress had now lost all the 8 elections held in the last 1 year in Assam. Chief Minister Sharma, however, cautioned party leaders against taking the Congress lightly. And significantly, Chief Minister Sharma highlighted that the BJP has secured 2.25 lakh votes in the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council polls against the mere 60,000 votes secured by the Congress. The Aam Aadmi Party, meanwhile, could secure only 15,000 votes. Well, the Assam Chief Minister added that such a massive mandate given by the people has increased the responsibilities of the government and the council.
বিজেপি দলে 2,20,000 ভোট লাভ কৰিছে তাৰ বিপৰীতে কংগ্ৰেছ দলে মাত্ৰ 60,000 ভোট লাভ কৰিছে আৰু নতুন যিবিলাক পাৰ্টি ওলাইছে আপেকক 15,000 ভোট আমাৰ 2,20,000 তেওঁলোকৰ 15,000 ভোট এপিএইচএসএলসি বুলি যিটো পাৰ্টি আছিলে তেওঁলোকে 50-60,000 ভোট পাইছে কংগ্ৰেছে 60,000 পাইছে মোৰ লগত একজেক্ট তালিকাখন আছে মই আপোনালোকক পঢ়িয়ে দিছো কোনে কিমান পাইছে গটিকে একচুয়ালি 26টা জিকাটোৱে ডাঙৰ কথা নহয় যি ধৰণে ভোটত জিকিছে আপোনালোকে যদি চাব খোজে যে বিজেপি দলে ভোট পাইছে 2,25,999টা, কংগ্ৰেছে ভোট পাইছে 60,000, তাৰমানে 1/4 এক প্ৰকাৰ। আপে ভোট পাইছে মাত্ৰ 15,000টা, আৰু যিটো আমাৰ APHCLC তেওঁলোকৰ ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেণ্ট হিচাপে উঠিছে কাৰণে ডাইৰেক্ট ধৰিব নোৱাৰি, কিন্তু টোটেল ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেণ্টে ভোট পাইছে 90,000, তাৰ ভিতৰত লিডিং ভোটটো পাইছে অল পাৰ্টি হিলছ লিডাৰ কনভেনশ্যন। ইয়াৰ ফালৰ পৰা এটা কথাই বুজিব পাৰি যে 26টা চিটতটো জিকিম বুলি আমি জানিছিলোৱে। যোৱাবাৰ আমি জিকিছিলো 1টা চিট 100টা ভোটত, 60টা ভোটত, 150টা ভোটত, 200টা ভোটত। এইবাৰ জিকাৰ মাৰ্জিনবোৰ 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, আৰু এখন স্বায়ত্তশাসিত পৰিষদত এনেকে একচাতে বুলি যিটো কওঁ, ওৱান চাইডেড ভোট হোৱাটো আৰু বিজেপি দলক সকলোৱে মৰমেৰে আদৰি লোৱাটো ভাল লাগিছে, কিন্তু লগত ভয়ো লাগিছে যে মানুহৰ ইমান আশা আকাংক্ষাক আমি পূৰণ কৰিব পাৰিম নে নোৱাৰিম।
Now, meanwhile, Chief Minister Sharma also indicated that Tuliram Ronghang will be re-elected as the CEM of Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. He cautioned that while the decisive verdict had ensured that there is no opposition, the BJP has to guard itself against complacency, which may give rise to a new opposition.
এতিয়া বিৰোধী আমি নিজেই, আমি আমাৰ দলৰ ৰাইজ, মন্ত্ৰী, বিধায়ক আমিহে বেয়া কাম কৰি কৰি এতিয়া বিৰোধীৰ জন্ম দিব লাগিব, নহলে অসমত মানুহ বিৰোধী নাই। সকলোৱে বিজেপিক আদৰি লৈছে। আজি আমাৰ অসমীয়া সমাজ, বংগভাষী সমাজ, হিন্দীভাষী সমাজ, গোৰ্খাভাষী সমাজ, জনজাতীয় সমাজ, অনুসূচিত জাতি সমাজ, যিয়ে কয় সকলোৱে আজি বিজেপিৰ লগত যোগ দিছে। ইণ্ডিজেনাছ মুছলিমৰ এটা ডাঙৰ ছেকশ্যন আমাৰ লগত আহিছে। কাৰ্বি আলংখন গোটেই ক'ব গ'লে 20% 25% খ্ৰীষ্টিয়ান মানুহ আছে। বিজেপি দলক একেবাৰে হিয়া উজাৰি ভোট দিছে। আমি এতিয়া কোনো এটা বিশেষ এনেকুৱা ঠেক গণ্ডিত নাই, সকলো মানুহৰ মাজত লাহে লাহে আমি সোমাই গৈছো। এতিয়া বিৰোধীটো আমিয়ে বনাব লাগিব বেয়া কাম কৰি। গতিকে সেইকাৰণে আমাৰ দায়িত্ব বহুত বাঢ়িলে। অহাকালিৰ পৰা আমাৰ ডিফুতেই আমাৰ দলৰ কাৰ্যনিৰ্বাহক আছে, ষ্টেট এক্সিকিউটিভ আছে, দুদিনীয়াকৈ সন্মিলন আছে। গতিকে মই এইটোৱে কথা ক'ম যে বিৰোধী নাই, কিন্তু বিৰোধীৰ জন্ম যাতে আমাৰ ভিতৰৰ পৰাই নহয়। স্বাভাৱিকভাৱে তুলিৰাম ৰংহাঙৰ নেতৃত্বত ইমান ডাঙৰ এটা বিজয়ী হৈছে, গতিকে কাক CM পাতিব এইটো নিৰ্বাচিত প্ৰতিনিধিসকলে সিদ্ধান্ত ল'ব। কিন্তু স্বাভাৱিকভাৱে তুলিৰাম ৰংহাঙৰ নেতৃত্বত এটা চমকপ্ৰদ সাফল্য বিজেপিয়ে পাইছে, ভাবিব নোৱাৰা ধৰণে পাইছে। গতিকে নিশ্চয় তেখেতৰ যিটো নেতৃত্ব, সেই নেতৃত্ব কাৰ্বি ৰাইজে আদৰি লৈছে বুলি আমি ক'ব লাগিব।
Now, in what has come as a major setback for Delhi Health Minister and the Aam Aadmi Party leader Satyendra Jain, a New Delhi court has sent him to 14-day judicial custody in an alleged money laundering case. Well, the Delhi Health and Home Minister Satyendra Jain was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with an alleged hawala transaction related to a Kolkata-based company. Well, Jain had also been slapped with charges of alleged possession of disproportionate assets. It may be mentioned here that more than 2 crore in cash and gold weighing 1.8 kg was seized last week by the ED after raids against Jain and those linked to him. Well, the ED said that its probe had revealed that during the period from 2015 to 2016, the companies owned and controlled by Jain received accommodation entries of nearly rupees 4.81 crore from shell companies against cash transfer to Kolkata-based entry operators through the Hawala route. Now, as per information, the ED has further stated that Satyendra Jain was not cooperating in the interrogation. And on the other hand, senior advocates Kapil Sibal and N. Hariharan opposed the extension of the remand, saying that the recoveries are not connected with Satyendra Jain. Well, earlier on the 9th of June, the Enforcement Directorate had been granted custody of Jain till 13 June in the Hawala transaction case. And let's take a look now at some international updates. In response to the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that left 21 people dead at Robb Elementary School, a bipartisan group of 20 senators, led by Senators Chris Murphy, Democratic Connecticut, and John Cornyn, the Republican from Texas, on Sunday announced that they have agreed to a quote-unquote common sense proposal to curb gun violence. Now, in a major development, 10 Republicans signed onto the bipartisan framework, which means any legislation based on its principle has a good chance of mustering 60 votes and overcoming a filibuster on the Senate floor. Now, US President Joe Biden applauded the deal, which he said would be the most significant gun safety legislation to pass in Congress in decades, and pledged to sign it. Well, the 9-point bipartisan plan would send federal resources to set up red flag laws to keep guns out of the hands of people deemed dangerous to the community, invest billions of dollars in children and family mental health services, fund school-based mental health services, fund new safety measures at schools, strengthen criminal background check requirements for gun buyers younger than 21, and cracking down on illegal gun purchases. Now, just at a time when there is massive outrage and deliberations on gun laws in the United States, 2 people were killed and 4 others were wounded in a shooting at a nightclub in Chicago. With this, there will be at least 6 persons who have been killed and another 20 have been injured in shootings across the city of Chicago so far this weekend. Now, there were reports of shots fired around 2 a.m. in Gary, southeast of Chicago. The deceased have been identified as the 34-year-old man and a 26-year-old woman. Now, both were declared dead after being taken to a local hospital. Now, 4 other people were also wounded, including one who was in critical condition, according to the police. And authorities did not release the victim's name or information about what may have led to the shooting. Now, they said that multiple law enforcement agencies responded due to a large crowd that needed to be evacuated and the large number of victims. Now, highlighting the attacks on Chinese nationals in Pakistan, Beijing on Sunday asked Pakistan Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa to stop attacks on its nationals who are working on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor projects in the Baluchistan region. The Chinese demand came in a meeting of senior officials of Pakistan and China who discussed their perspectives on the international and regional security situations. Now, the developments come after the Islamabad police recently decided to set up a foreign security cell at the Central Police Office with the requisite staff and logistics amid reports of Chinese nationals continuously being targeted in Pakistan. It was decided to apply all standard operating procedures to non-China-Pakistan Economic Corridor security projects on the pattern of the CPEC security. While similarly, the Special Branch, Counter-Terrorism Department, and Security Division will audit the security arrangements periodically. Pakistan's Army Chief General Bajwa headed the Pakistani delegation in an apex meeting with the Chinese military in China. And shifting focus to sports, Dhing Express Hima Das made her return to sport by winning a gold medal in the 100 meters women's event at the 61st National Interstate Athletics Championships held in Chennai in Tamil Nadu. Well, Hima defeated Duty Chand in the final as she clocked 11.43 seconds, while Chand finished second at 11.44 seconds. Well delighted with her win, Das also tweeted, and I quote, "Happy to make a comeback after an injury and hard work of nearly 2 years. Well, looking forward to give my best in the circuit in the upcoming events. Thank you for everyone for your love and blessings," unquote. Meanwhile, the Athletics Federation of India also tweeted, I quote again, "Champions returns. Hima Das won gold medal with a performance of 11.43 seconds in women 100 meters in the 61st National Interstate Athletics Championships in Chennai, Tamil Nadu." Well, it needs to be mentioned here that recently Hima Das faced severe backlash for competing with an injured leg going against her coach's advice. Now, in the end, she ended injuring herself and missing some major tournaments of her career. Now, an explosive knock from Heinrich Klaassen powered South Africa to a 4-wicket win over India in the second T20 internationals of the 5-match series at Barabati Stadium in Cuttack on Sunday. It was a poor day for India on the field as they could not do a lot with the bat on a difficult surface. And despite Bhuvneshwar Kumar's heroics in the power play, they could not sustain the momentum and gave Proteas a 2-0 lead. While chasing 149, South Africa got off a poor start. Pacer Bhuvneshwar Kumar handed India some early momentum by dismissing opener Reza Hendricks for just 4 in the first over of the match. Well, this brought all-rounder Dwayne Pretorius to the crease, sent for producing some big hits for his side. Now, Klaassen brought up his 4th T20 international half-century in just 32 balls, his second against India. Well, Klaassen continued doing great even after his 50. Harshal Patel finally earned his side the wicket of Klaassen in the final ball of the 17th over, dismissing him for 81 of 46. But it was too late for India as only 5 were needed in the final 3 overs. Parnell was dismissed by Kumar in the final ball of the 18th over, his 4th of the match. Well, the chase was finally over with Proteas at 149 runs with 6 falls in wickets in the 18th over with Miller and Rabada. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was the leading bowler for India, taking 4 wickets and giving away 13 runs in 8 overs. Well, Harshal Patel also got a wicket. And that's all we have for you on Afternoon Headlines. I'm Aaron Lingdo. News and updates continues.
News channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
মই ব্যৱহাৰ কৰোঁ আটাইতকৈ সবল আৰু সতেজ চিমেণ্ট সূৰ্যা চিমেণ্ট। সূৰ্যা চিমেণ্ট অটুট ঘৰ অটুট অসম।
আগুৱাইছে মোৰ দেশ এক সুন্দৰ ভৱিষ্যতৰ দিশে। আঁকোৱালি লৈ ইয়াৰ বিকাশ